Previously, on Fire Emblem Gaiden, Alm travels through the western forest, laying siege to the Sei's fortress, finally putting an end to that traitorous thug's treachery. Then, he moves north, facing many Rigelian soldiers and liberating the western sluice gate from the Arcanist Tatara. However, without the auxiliary sluice gate at Mila's temple being open, this one cannot be operated for fear of flooding. Celica's journey in the meanwhile had started in the east, returning to the nearby Zophian port. As Celica makes her way back to the harbor, she faces a pirate force led by Greith. The Pegasus Knights Palla and Catria are isolated in the north. The pirates themselves have split into two main forces. West is led by Greith himself, who likes to lead from the front. He's basically the same as Barth, so Valbar has no issue blocking him and his force from crossing the bridge. My mercenaries meanwhile aid the Pegasus sisters by facing the pirates to the northeast. The fight is a bit lengthy, but ends with my victory. I then enter the harbor, talking to the Pegasus sisters. They join my army, requesting my help to fight Est. If the three of them are together, they can unleash a mighty attack. Palla is a Pegasus Knight. She starts with good HP, strength and speed, with good growths in HP, strength and defense. Having great movement with such good offensive stats will allow her to contribute a lot. Having that higher level also puts her close to promotion, which is a great upgrade due to the Falcon Knight's inherent effectiveness against monsters. She also starts with a Javelin, a lance capable of ranged attacks, good for her or any other high-impact lance user. Catria is another Pegasus Knight. She's a bit faster, with better luck and resistance, but lower strength, HP and defense. She has similar contribution capabilities to Palla, having a better profile for combating mages. Her lower level means she will need more investment to reach promotion, but considering what Falcon Knight is capable of, it might just be worth it. She also starts with the Angel Ring. This ring heals 5 HP per turn, fixes luck to 40, and doubles level up gains. This one could get passed around for a bit of better level ups for the army. I then move north towards the graveyard, initiating combat with revenants. These monsters are also accompanied by the Entombed, indistinguishable in both appearance and stats, but provide a much higher experience bounty. Great stuff! I then arrive at the mountain village, being told that the bandit king Greith rules the desert. Another man says that a shrine infested with dragons holds the power of revival. I find another peddler and then Atlas. His siblings were taken away by Greith, so he wants to join us so he can rescue them. Atlas is a villager who has notably high HP and strength, but not much else. Same goes for his growths. Starting at such high a level won't do much considering how early villager promotes anyway. Speaking of which, he doesn't have that many good choices, besides perhaps mercenary. His spell list is small, so mage won't do good, soldier has awful movement, archer enjoys the strength, but he will be lacking in skill, while cavalier's good movement is hampered by the awful terrain of most of Celica's maps. Rather unfortunate filler at best. Celica heads east towards the desert, crossing the graveyard again for a combat with Bonewalkers, and then is attacked by an army comprised of mostly mercenaries. Fortunately, tombstones are an incredibly exploitable defensive terrain. I even make use of Jenny's Invoke spell to summon illusionary soldiers that can sometimes act as decoys. Starting on enemy phase does put me at a bit of a disadvantage. After that, I arrive at the desert stronghold, guarded by Wolf of the sniper class. I start with my army split into two flanks, I draw away the Arcanists with my Pegasus Knights, then deal with the mercenaries. I make my slow advance to the fort with units such as Valbar, Saber and Kamui, grinding through the archers, all while Wolf shoots at me with his steel bow. That gives him good strength, but his defenses are rather minor. After a long fight, he retreats to a corner, a perfect opportunity to trap and end him, getting his steel bow, which I give to Leon. I then enter their fortress, finding a chest containing a steel lance, which I give to Valbar, and then I talk to a prisoner, Jesse. He tried to help a foreign girl who's imprisoned at Greith's fortress. He also talks of Greith's subordinates, Dean and Sonia. They both hate Greith, but act as each other's checks, ensuring none of them is insubordinate, but defeating one might land the other as an ally. Jesse then joins. Jesse is a mercenary, starting with good HP, strength and speed, with good growths in HP, skill and speed. He is one level away from promotion, so he could get a decent boost early on, but is otherwise just another mercenary. At least he's decent filler. I take the southern path, facing Sonia and her witches. This is quite a risky choice due to the witch's random self-warping. Sonia and her steel shield and Excalibur spell make her quite a bit threatening, but nothing that the Pegasus sisters can't deal with, so she goes down, dropping her steel shield, which I give to Bowie. Dean then moves back to the Citadel, leaving the map. I am then attacked by a force of brigands in the desert. Once they're dealt with, I besiege Greith's Citadel. This is a well-guarded fortification, with 3 groups of Arcanists and Snipers on the center and flanks. Mercenaries and brigands advance towards me, and a Cantor summons Bonewalkers. I send Palla and Catria on a strike mission, while most of my army bunkers down on the south, dealing with the Myrmidon as well. The Pegasus sisters break through the right flank, drawing the Fortify Arcanist away, defeating him, while also drawing Greith away. This does allow me to deal with the Cantor with Palla, although the process takes quite a while due to the healing tile the Cantor occupies. I then deal with the remaining Arcanists and Snipers while my main army enters the Citadel, forming a defensive position in the center, dealing with the Myrmidon, and finally Greith. He's quite speedy, with good strength and massive resistance characteristic of the Dread Fighter class. I soften him up with Illusions and Valbar, and after a few range attacks, I end him with Catria. Once inside the Citadel, I talk with Dean. Being grateful for Greith's defeat, he joins us. I then talk to a maiden who's a priestess of Mila, who notices Celica's resemblance to Liprica, former priestess of Mila and consort to King Lima IV. She unfortunately died at Celica's childbirth. The maiden then gives Celica a diadem that proves her inheritance, changing Celica's class to princess, and then she returns to the Temple of Mila. Finally, Celica liberates Est, who can join her sisters. Dean is a Myrmidon, a 5-movement class that wields swords, the promoted version of the mercenary. He starts with great HP, skill, speed, and good strength, but his only good growth is HP. Notably, Myrmidons have no penalties for crossing forest, which could give this class some of the best non-mounted movement. Dean also starts with the Brave Sword, this game's equivalent of the Killing Edge, a lightweight and accurate high crit sword. Had I faced him in combat, he would have dropped it. He also starts with a decent level, so promotion is within somewhat close proximity. He's pretty good. If I had chosen to face Dean in combat, I would be recruiting Sonia here instead. She's a mage that has good magic speed and resistance, with good overall growths. Starting with Fire, Thunder, and Excalibur gives her a good well-rounded starting spell roster, and she is capable of learning Seraphim and Sagittae as well, although perhaps a bit too late for her starting level. It's a bit unfortunate that mages have such low movement as well. Est is a Pegasus Knight. She doesn't have much besides speed and resistance, although her growths are great. She has trouble contributing much without investment, although she has a bit of a niche in field battles. Since those deploy the whole army, she might as well be used as an enabler for triangle attacks for Palla or Catria, and even use one herself in a pinch. Otherwise, she isn't doing much. If she turned into a Falcon Knight though, she could be of great help, but once again, that requires a lot of effort. With this desert adventure complete, I go back west, entering the graveyard, facing Bonewalkers, and then defending against an attacking Paladin force, then moving north to face a group of mercenaries led by the Myrmidon Blake. His Shadow Sword is incredibly strong, but is heavy enough that the Pegasus sisters can double him, but I wasn't quite aware of that, so I soften him up a bit before I unleash my triangle attack, which might have been a bit overcautious. He drops the Shadow Sword. This one will stay in my convoy, but if I get a Dread Fighter, it could be good equipment. The rest of his army crumbles quickly. I then enter the Dragon Shrine, facing 3 Necro Dragons there, so I can gain access to the statue of Mila there. I promote Atlas to Mercenary, Kamui, Saber and Jesse to Myrmidons, Leon to Sniper, and Palla to Falcon Knight. I then march to the Temple of Mila, which has been taken over by Mikhail, the Cantor. I send Palla alone to deal with him, making short work of the gargoyles he summons. Mikhail himself is a simple magic user that casts Mire. After he's taken enough damage, he refuses to summon, so I send the rest of my army forward, with Palla defeating Mikhail and opening the door, allowing for access to the east side of the temple, allowing for quick work of the remaining Arcanists. I then enter the temple. Mila, the Earth Goddess, has been sealed by King Rudolf of Rigel, ruining the Earth. Dolph, the Cantor, rules the lands north of here and is capable of summoning Necro Dragons. Duma, the Wicked God, gave Rudolf the sword that sealed Mila. I could rescue her if I went to the Tower of Duma, although I must be careful of the swamps ahead of my journey. I cannot journey any further north if the floodgates aren't opened. Since I rescued the maiden back at Greith's Citadel, I am told to look for a hamlet in a forest north of here, where the great sage Halcyon lives. I go downstairs, using the right lion head statue to max out experience for Jenny, Catria and Dean. Then I talk to the man operating the sluice gate to open it, requiring Celica's identity as Zophian royalty to do so. With this gate open, I open the western sluice gate with Alm, allowing access to Rigel. The floodgates are open, and Rigel is within reach of Alm and Celica, with Alm taking the fight to Rigel and Celica getting closer to finding out what happened to the goddess Mila. The two of them will finally meet face to face with their destiny. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time, as Celica trudges through the treacherous swamps of Rigel.